night she vanished, the river roared louder than I had ever heard, as if it were alive, mourning or angry. The villagers gathered in fear at the river banks, whispering prayers and clutching their lanterns tightly. But I stood there, rooted in terror, my eyes fixed on the rippling waters. I could still see her, dancing gracefully under the moonlight, her laughter echoing through the night just hours earlier. Now, all that remained of her was her red scarf, floating lifelessly on the water surface. Her name was Ada, my cousin, and the most beautiful woman in our village. Ada had a beauty that turned heads and a tongue that often say more than it should. She believed she deserved the best life could offer and made no secret of it. Many men had come to seek her hand in marriage. Farmers, traders, even a young school teacher from the neighboring town. But Ada would laugh at them, dismissing each one with cruel words. One of her suitors, a wealthy young farmer, had knelt before her, his hands trembling as he presented her with a necklace he had saved for months to buy. Ada glanced at it, then at him, and laughed. Is this what you think will win me? A piece of glass? Take it back, old man, and buy yourself a new hoe instead. As her cousin, I tried to warn her. Ada, you are pushing away good men. What are you waiting for? She would smirk and reply, someone worthy of me, a man who can give me everything my heart desires. It was a market day when Ada met him. I was with her, helping to carry the basket of food she bought when a man approached. He was tall, with skin that glistens unnaturally under the sun, and his voice was deep and smooth, like the roar of the river after a storm. He introduced himself as DK and claimed to be a merchant passing through. He handed Ada a pierced bracelet, saying it was a small token of her beauty. Ada's eyes light up at the sight of the pearls. How could a mere merchant afford such treasures? She asked, half skeptical, half intrigued. DK smiled. I have my ways, and if you were mine, I will make sure you want for nothing. That was all it took. Ada was enchanted, despite the whispers from the villagers about how strange DK seemed, how he never stayed too long in one place, how his eyes seemed too bright in the dark. Ada was blind to it all. She refused to listen to anyone, even me. I have finally found someone who says my words, she said. Why should I care what others think? Their wedding was hurried and held at the river bank at DK's insistence. The elders muttered among themselves, uneasy with the location. But Ada paid no mind. She wore a dress that shimmered like the scales of a fish, a gift from DK, and a crown of pearls rested on her head. It wasn't until after the wedding that things began to change. DK insisted they move to a house he had built near the river, far from the rest of the village. Ada's laughter grew less frequent, and she stopped visiting her family. When I went to see her, she seemed pale and tired. Her once bright eyes now shadowed. "Are you happy, Ada?" I asked her one afternoon as we sat by the river. She hesitated before forcing a smile. "Of course. Why wouldn't I be? DK is everything I have ever wanted." But her words lacked conviction, and I knew something was wrong. That night, I decided to follow DK. I wanted to understand the unease that had been gnawing at me since the day I met him. Under the cover of darkness, I crept towards their house. What I saw made my blood run cold. DK was standing by the river, his body half submerged in the water. But he wasn't alone. Shapes, human-like but not quite, rose from the depths, their voices a haunting melody. "You have done well, DK," one of them hissed. "But her time is near. The river demands its bride." I stumbled back, my heart racing. A twig snapped under my foot, and DK turned, his glowing eyes piercing through the night. I ran as fast as I could, the sound of the river song chasing me. The next morning, I tried to warn Ada, but she refused to listen. "You are jealous," she screamed. "You have always envied me." That night, the river claimed her. She disappeared without a trace, leaving only her red scarf behind. The villagers mourned, but the whispers continued. They said the river had taken her as its bride, a punishment for her greed and vanity. I still visit the river sometimes, hoping for answers, but all I find is silence and the haunting memory of Ada's laughter, now lost to the depths forever. Greed blinds us to the dangers hidden in plain sight. True worth is found in kindness, humility, and gratitude, not in material possessions or fleeting beauty.